Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like. We're going back on over to the Traders, but first we're stopping over in New York City for some reunion things. Some reunions.
We're going to New York, and then we're hitting up Scotland, because why not?
You know it. Alan is excited. He wants to have us over, and we're going to have some crumpet munching.
And that was so funny. That was so good. What did he say? Good. Good morning, you crumpet munchers.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
I literally cackled. I was like, oh my God, I love that so much. I wrote in my notes, crumpet munchers, yes, please.
All day, every day.
Yes. So good.
He is having a ball. He is. What did Tom Sandoval said? I'll try anything once. And he was like, don't threaten me with a good time.
A good time.
Like,
that was so good. He's so on it, and like that's so authentic. Yeah. That's like really him, he Johnny Bananas, who was on that first season for like a hot second, or second season maybe. He was on the second season for like a hot second. He was on his podcast this last week or 2 weeks ago talking to Wells, actually, interestingly enough, and he said no host, he's never, because he's been on multiple different shows, like many different reality shows. He said no host works as hard as Alan. Like Alan's like there the whole time. He's like constantly like practicing or like part of it, and that he's like, I think he's always in character is the idea. Like he's just always stays like that, like stays ready. It's awesome. Wow. I love it. Yeah.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Get ready. Exactly. That is him. Well, I can go ahead right into my check-in right now, because my little kitten, which is my check-in, if you're watching the video, you can see his little baby. He is my little check-in because he is a sweet baby angel.
Oh, he just is looking right at you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. He's a big eye contact friend. He like really is into that. It's the cutest little thing. And he is going to be making a little bit of a ruckus, I think, because he is a little kitten. He's 12 weeks. So he's like, making a storm happen in whatever room he's in. But he'll calm down eventually. And he just like sits in my lap at all times, just like up in like the crook of my arm. It's like the cutest little thing. I love it so much. So he's come to join us today. And weird noises may happen. We'll try to limit them if they're loud so that we're not hurting anybody's ears. But he also will probably be calm at some point. So I named him Monkey, and I call him Monk, therefore, because it's a short name for Monkey, because I named him that before I even met him, even though the idea of calling him Monkey was that I was not going to name him until I got to know his personality. But then because I had referred to him as Monkey so many times, it was too late. He had to just be Monk. He's my little monk. Yes, hi, sweetie.
So sweet.
Oh my gosh, she's so the sweetest. So he will
just looks at you.
Yeah, he does.
So sweet.
So sweet.
He's like,
so he'll be your like unofficial mascot. Yeah, unofficial. So you'll have to watch the video. People just have to see the video. Although we do put short versions of our videos on YouTube, so you could watch that as well. And then what we'd really love is if you would go to patreon.com/realitytest and get a tier 2 membership to be able to see the whole video episode of our video episodes.
We would love that. We would love that indeed.
Truly. So tell me how you're doing. What's on your heart and mind today, dear Dr. Ray?
Well, it cannot be Monk, because what a cutie. I have to say, in faculty meetings, it has been a delight to have him to look at when, when you're feeling a little bored or squirrely or whatever it may be.
Yeah, totally. So I try not to be distracting, but he actually he'll be distracting and then he won't be for long periods of time. So I figure it's good enough. I think, I could see someone eventually being like, all right, enough of that. But I kind of don't care, because I'm not going to not have him in the room just because we're in a department meeting. I'm going to have him.
I have to say, I'm not going to say that. And it's just a pleasure to watch him going across the screen. And my favorite things is like chaotic kittens. They're just so fun. They're like little.
He's just like so jazzed, always jazzed, just like the most jazzed. I was saying to you off mic too that it's just so funny how he'll like flash across the screen and like just smack me on the way by, and it's just like I'm even disoriented, like what just happened? It's so funny.
He's like, haha, gotcha.
Exactly. Exactly. And then he's like still, figuring out his body, so like he'll fall unexpectedly. Like there was one time that he tried to like make it up onto the chair, and I was trying to catch him, and we were both looking at each other in the eyes like, no, like as he like slipped down. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm trying. Even though he was like a foot from the ground. Yeah. It's so funny.
like, I'm going down fast.
Yeah, he's like, wait. That's so cute.
His little tail. He's just a baby. He's just a little baby.
So tell me how you're doing. What is on your heart and mind today, dear Dr. Ray? I'm excited.
Let's see. Well, I'm a little sickly because our audio extraordinaire, he's been sick all week, and I really didn't think I was going to get it. I thought you've hit your quota for this year. You're good on sickness, and then I got it today. So if you're noticing my voice is a little off, my apologies, dear listeners. I feel okay to podcast, just a little squirrely and a little runny and sniffly,
nasally.
Yeah,
you don't sound exactly. It. And also, I'm glad we're getting this in before you get much sicker, because you could get sicker. Hopefully not. Hopefully I didn't just like make that happen, manifest it. But
no, this is, I would imagine I'll probably, you know how you feel better but sound worse kind of thing? Mm-hmm. By Monday, people will be like, get the fuck away from me. And I'll be like, I actually feel fine. But
everything's fine. Everything's good.
Yeah.
People will be like, do you have COVID?
Yep. Hopefully not. Connor tested negative, so that was good. But he's your baby. I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with your cat.
I know, he is really distracting. But he also like really loves my laptop, like just wants to sit on it at all times. So I've started kind of letting him, but then he'll like he just floats out of the audio recording. Like he actually creates like real havoc that way. So I'm also trying to train him not to sit on the actual buttons. There's so many places he could sit that are not actually gonna fuck shit up. So we're working on it. But yeah, so you'll see me pick him up a little bit sometimes, but otherwise he'll eventually calm down.
Love it. Love it. Love it. But what's on my mind is a show that I have to recommend. Yay. It is called The Pit. It's on HBO, and it is kind of like
medical drama.
Yeah. I am really into it. It's kind of like a spinoff of ER.
Yeah, because it has that guy who was in it.
Yeah, and he's really good. What I like about this show too, I think it brought me back to like when I worked in community mental health, very different things, but I was doing like in-home work with people with schizophrenia, and it was like, it reminded me of things where systems are just so chaotic and you're just kind of like making so many decisions on the fly.
Totally.
And the show really has that energy. And it's just cool being a doctor, of course, is different than being like a social work, medical counseling person, a medical doctor. Yes, that's true. But I think that so many of our systems in this country are broken, and frankly, getting more broken by the day. And I don't know. I've just enjoyed this show on so many levels. The performances are good. My one like critique is there's a little bit of like, kind of like House, the glorification of this sarcastic white dude kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There's the one guy who I'm like, okay, we get one guy, but then there's another guy who I really don't like, who also seems to be kind of a dick, but is a good doctor. And I'm like, we get one of those on this show. We don't need two.
No,
at this
there's a quota or quotient, and both of them have been met by just one.
So so The Pit, I am just such a huge fan of right now, and I think the acting is really good. And it's just really fun. It's easy to watch. It's kind of weird at first because it's literally just like they're in the ER, and it's kind of a realistic depiction. I mean, some of the stuff is not realistic. Like there was someone who had like potential harm to others, and they didn't act on like a duty to warn, and it was weird.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
So I'm like, if that were, and someone was a social worker and they knew about it too. And I was like, you should at least follow up on this. Someone should follow up on this more than they are right now.
Yeah. But there are mandated reporters present. Why is there no reporting?
Yeah. Someone's got to report this. This kid ran out of the hospital. He has a list. Like, let's yeah. It was weird, convoluted storyline. Like his mother went in and took pills to seem sick so she could bring her son in It was weird. Mm-hmm. But
like not quite Munchausen really, because it's not for the attention.
Right.
Yeah, she needed
I didn't know what else to do. But then I don't know. It just got weird. But anyway, overall I think it's a fun show and a pretty easy watch. So I've been enjoying watching that this week.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I saw the commercial for that and I was like, oh, I loved him on ER. That's fun. They're kind of bringing him back as the I guess he's probably the draw, right? Because we all remember him from ER and really from nothing else. Like he's basically just ER doctor in my head for sure.
I looked up because I think he looks like other actors or something. Because I'm like, he's been in other stuff, but he really hasn't, like hardly at all.
Yeah, that makes sense because I really do only associate him with that. It's like you don't know if it's like he tried and I just didn't remember him on other stuff, but no, he just literally did not. Poor guy.
I never watched ER. Was it good?
Oh my God. Yeah, that was like so good. It was so good. It definitely was like before, obviously it was before Grey's Anatomy. It was like what Grey's Anatomy then became for like the next generation. It was that first and it was just fucking really good. Really good. Like George Clooney was on it. You know what I mean? They had some like big names. Yeah. Before they were big, really mostly, but yeah.
Maybe I should watch it. Do you think really it's like
should?
Do you think it's worth a watch? Is it like too past its time or whatever?
Right. Does it hold up? I actually
that's
don't
the question.
know. Yeah, I don't know if it holds up, to be honest. I bet there's some stuff I don't know though. I don't remember that, but obviously I wouldn't. I don't know. It came out like it was coming out as like Will and Grace was like about to start coming out. So I think it was it was probably like okay, you know? So I don't know. I think they probably stayed away. I don't remember like any people of color, so that's probably a problem. Oh, you know what? You know who was on it? The guy who was also in the Eminem movie, 8 Mile. Oh, it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck. Oh, Mekhi Phifer. No, Mekhi Phifer. Yeah, Mekhi Phifer. The Michelle Pfeiffer is why that sounds wrong, right? Mekhi something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that guy.
I think you're right. I think I know who you're talking about at least.
Yeah. Yeah. But. So he's in it and but like, right. They probably did some tokenizing there, I'm assuming. But I don't think it's like anything egregious because it was pretty like buttoned up, I think. So I think I would try it, at least try a little bit because it'd be interesting to see that guy back in the day when he was on that. And then also there's like an episode of it that like everybody I know who watched ER, like everybody remembers that was like close to the finale, but it was when one of the doctors that we'd all been watching for years dies. And it was just like such impactful, like so much impact to that episode of TV. Everyone remembers it. And like that song by Israel that's like, what a wonderful world, you know, like life is whatever. You know that one? Yeah, they played that during it. So now everyone who has seen that episode like gets that like feeling when they hear the song. They're like, oh
shit. I think I might have to watch some ER. I mean, what's his face is kind of a snack, to be honest.
He's very cute. I had a crush on him for sure when I watched it.
And he holds it. Like he's still pretty cute. And I mean, George Clooney, come on. I mean,
cannot go wrong.
Charm coming out of his ears, that man.
Literally. Like when I never got into Grey's Anatomy, but when people were talking about like McDreamy and McSteamy or whatever, I just was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I'm the George Clooney and this guy girl, because I definitely was. This was the other guy I really liked a lot. It was so funny. I think they must have known that, bringing him back, because he definitely was a popular one for not having he had a big part, but I wouldn't say he was like known for his acting, basically. Gotcha. So I'm glad I'm glad that he's probably doing well. He looked good in the commercial. It seemed like he was doing his acting thing.
Yeah. He had some good, I think he maybe has learned some things over his time, but yeah.
If he's not even acting, poor guy, he's like watching himself back. Like all he does is like watch old ER episodes and like criticize himself. So he's learning all this. He's like, we're playing it back, learning his mistakes.
Yes. Being like, this is why I never did anything else kind of thing.
And then he got his big break again and he's like, okay, I can put it all into action now.
Mm-hmm. And I think he's playing a very particular kind of guy well, in my opinion. I just don't think they needed two of that kind of guy. I think one was enough of that. The sort of smug. It's not like House level smug. When I rewatch House episodes, I'm like, oh my God, holy sexism. I can't with this show.
Dude.
But it's that sort of like, I'm kind of an arrogant, rule-breaking man, but I'm always right, so it doesn't matter sort of thing. And I find that
totally
annoying.
It's like the one that like everyone wants to impress because he's such a dick, but like, and then like when he is impressed, everyone's like, it's like whatever. It's actually a little bit of like Boston Rob vibes. Like, if he's impressed by you, it's like such a big deal because he isn't impressed by many people or is a man of few words. But I will say that this guy who's in the pit was not that character on ER. Like, not that I remember. I think he was actually like the good guy, like the nice guy on that. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Changing it up.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of I'm about to sneeze. I know we've got new excuse me. New York thoughts.
We do.
Right.
And before we do that, I also have a touch of an announcement, which I'm assuming you probably have seen because it was just all over the place. But Rachel Kirkconnell and Matt, the Black Bachelor first ever, broke up. Did you hear snippets at all of her interview with the daddy chickie? Call her daddy.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
It's like real hard listen. Real hard listen. She's like, she ends up like describing him in like a way that like definitely sounds like gaslighting. And I think a lot of people came out like really hard against him because of that. But like, I think it's more two-sided than that, right? Like I'm sure there's more to it, but it sounds at the very least like my take on it is that she tells us that she hasn't really had a relationship before him, but she sounds like her view on their relationship sounds like a high schooler, like, you know what I mean? Like a high school relationship kind of, but so does his. Like, I also doubt I bet she's like one of his first real relationships too, because the way that he was described the way he treated her, like basically he's like, why are you so upset about da-da-da-da-da? You know, it's like, I hate that take on like women having emotions. Like, why are you so upset? Like, why would you cry? Like that sort of like sparked the last fight that they broke up over. So like very not cool. Like I'm really not cool with that at all. But I'm sure there's a lot to it, but a lot behind it. But yeah, so that to me sounds like early days relationship as well. Like that view of women having emotions as being like annoying or something is like,
jeez.
Like she was describing like worrying that he would get upset with her. Like it just was like so many things that are just like, I don't know. And just like not hearing it as it came out of her mouth, but like at the same time, like extremely concerned with how she's seen. Like basically every third sentence, she said something like there's this phrase she kept using of like, it's one of those things where, which is like a signal to me that she's thinking about like what's normative. Like she's thinking about like, it's one of those things that people can relate to because but like sometimes she's saying it's one of those things where, and you're like, what are the things like that? That sounds like a you thing, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it just, you know, she's really only thinking of herself as it compares to like normal experience. And it is tough to listen to. And I felt really sad for her. So yeah, I don't know. I feel bad. I feel bad for both of them. I think they both could use about like 4 more relationships before they settle down.
Yep.
And
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed emotionally young on his season. And it was just like wanting to bring this person on, not being very thoughtful, and then not setting up any supports for them to be successful. Like he had a really tough season. And then Rachel, some pretty racist shit came up about her. And I was surprised that they kind of got back together. But I wonder if that whole dynamic then kind of put him in a power position.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so that's the other dynamic is like massive power difference. And there would be anyway, because he's a man and she's a woman and she's early in relationship experience, which means she's also early in facing her own oppression as a woman. So like there's no way that wasn't already going to be a power dynamic. But yeah, it's massively worse because he was the bachelor and she thinks of everyone as being like obsessed with him, for example. And she thinks of everyone as like hating her. And then because they're jealous, I think is her thought about it. And then the other thing is, like he does not have any like awareness to be able to question his power or like talk about it with her. Like it sounds very much like she's like responding to it as the power is a reality, but not about the power. Like she's not really like commenting on, like able to see it outside of it or whatever. You're so right about the power dynamic because he was the bachelor, but then also, and he took her back. Right. Totally true.
Right.
And also the other thing was she was talking about when they got back together and she said, when we broke up, like I totally understood it because I could never know his experience as a black man. And like, of course I understand that. And she said, we thought everyone was saying like, you can't be together. But then when we got off after that episode, we actually saw some people, she said, some people were saying they should be able to be together. So then we got back together. She basically said like, they wouldn't have gotten back together if some people hadn't been okay with it. I was like, whoa.
That's fucking weird.
And she just said it, like, rattled it right off, like, so she wasn't, like, aware of, like, what that sounds like. I was like, whoa. Like, so you would not have gotten... rough.
That's sad. That's real... Sorry, lighting issues, people.
No, all good.
Just really sad that she would... that their decision-making was so focused on what other people thought as opposed to what they wanted.
Exactly. No, it's really... And it sounds like a lot of it's tied up in that, which is sad. And... I mean, he's an influencer, right? Like, regardless, even if he wasn't on the show, because he already was, at least trying to be, I think. But, yeah, so that's just a bummer.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you for sharing that update. I'll have to listen to that podcast. It sounds really illuminating. And I don't know. I think my perspective is they were two kind of lost people who were then lost together for a while. And it sounds like we're hurtful to each other.
Yeah, or like not. I don't know. Like he was hurtful to her in the way they broke up, but like it sounded almost like she said that they like wouldn't really fight. Like first she was like, we don't fight, but like we were both stubborn. Like I don't know. She had a little bit conflicting stuff there, but I got the sense that like he would basically like tell her. She said that she would come into the fight with him, or like she'd sit down to talk to him about something, upset about something, and then she would leave the conversation apologizing to him and hoping he wasn't mad at her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the part that sounded like gaslighting. Like, and then he told her at the end that the reason they were breaking up is because she can't take accountability for anything. But she was like, it's kind of weird because I like apologize all the time. Oh my God.
That's not good. That is not good at all. Oh, and that's such a common thing in a certain type of relationship where, a woman will come with her feelings and then it will somehow get flipped on her in a really upsetting way.
Right. It's that power thing, right? Like he has the power to set reality. Sad.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rachel.
Yeah. It's sad for both of them. And I think they both really need to like have 5 more, seriously, like get some more relationship experience. And I think that he basically said like, I want to get married, but I thought his whole thing is like, he doesn't know if he can get married because his dad, the history of his dad. But then he's saying to her, like, I should want to get married to you by now. And I don't. So like, that's a sign. And then, it's like 4 years together, which I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you could be together for a long time before you feel right for that. But then at the same time, I don't think they're right for that because they need other experience first to know what they want. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about now. But anyway, that is kind of sad. I think it's a good like illuminator in terms of like early relationship learning and like what we ideally learn kind of earlier on. But if not, then learn it from this. I think that's a good thing to hear it put that way, because then you're kind of like, why is it sort of like makes you think about it, which is good. But otherwise it's just really honestly tough to listen to, so I don't know. Sad.
I'm both do and don't want to listen to that.
Exactly. Yeah, sure. Exactly. I will say it's a great segue because same thing with Real Housewives of New York, which is like a lot of content I do and do not want to think about and listen to and see.
Yes.
And we agreed that we would talk about some highlights from the reunions of Real Housewives of New York, but that we're not going to recap those episodes. So this is our, this is in place of recapping.
Yes. So I want to start off by saying, holy shit, did you hit the nail on the head with Bryn's, like her feelings of not being comforted after what she disclosed. That totally came up. And I was like, oh, Kate knew. Kate saw that. Or, oh, wait, we are saying our full names now, so it's okay.
It's totally fine.
So that was one of my main things, was like the kind of all the misses that were occurring in that thing, in that whole dynamic. Another reaction, Aaron, what the fuck with the whole thing, and working with, victims of domestic violence. The last thing you ever want to say to someone is like to guilt them that someone's still on the street. Doing that to other people, like that is not what you want to do, because it is as the other women said, rightfully so, like it is incredibly traumatic to go through that type of process for women. People doubt their narratives, all sorts of things. And so to put that, instead of putting it on the perpetrator, on the victim, is so unfair. And she was just kind of clueless, and I still don't think got it.
No,
like, I feel like that happens to her a lot. I think she is in a lot of ways kind of a clueless white woman, and then she'll be open to feedback, but I don't think she fully grasped. Like, I don't think she fully grasped why that was wrong.
She's a little bit insulated. Yeah. We know she didn't get it because of the second reunion episode where she was like in the backstage, like, yeah, I just want to have him in jail or whatever. It's like, dude,
right?
Like, get us a clue about it. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the video I made about that? It was like so fired up about how she reacted. I
saw that you said something about Aaron, and I was like, I wonder if it's this. I haven't watched it yet, but I will.
Yeah, no, the whole idea is that she literally said out loud, the only thing that gnaws at me about this is the fact that he's still out there. Wait, what? The only thing that gnaws at you about the fact she was assaulted is that the guy is still out on the street?
Oh my God.
Are you fucking
you're
kidding?
so right.
Yeah,
Not that it
no.
happened to your friend. Jesus fucking
Oh my
Christ.
God. I just was jaw on the floor. And it was literally seconds after we had just talked to Brynn about why it was hard for her to come forward. She said, at first, all I wanted to do was go home and take a shower. And then she said, and then months later, when I was I should do something about this, it's his word against mine. And I don't know, by the way, it's almost like the show is going to make it even harder for her in court because everyone's talking about how she's a liar. So tell me how you, Erin, can both say you should take him to court and on the other hand be talking about how much of a liar she is. All they have to do is play a small tidbit of the show in court to completely invalidate her and it would be over, So you can't have it both ways. And on top of that, right. just that baseline, it is victim blaming. It's a good example of how, I think people who hear the term victim blaming, first of all, it gets used, but people use it in a pejorative way, oh, victim blaming, people get mean about that concept. That concept is very important because victim blaming is one of the things that makes people more likely to have PTSD. Right. So I'm excited about it. I enjoyed it and good for them.
Exactly. Oh, well, we covered a lot today. My goodness.
We sure did. Thank you for those who stuck with us. Little kitty. So we can see the little kitty on our video version. And you can check us out on social medias at dr.reality.tv, R-E-A-L-I-T-V. That's TikTok. On our Instagrams, we are at Dr. K Pause and at Dr. Ray Pause, respectively, if you were to say me and then Dr. Ray. And then we are also on at Reality Test Pod for our YouTube channel. And just Reality Test Pod is our Facebook page. And our email is realitycheckpodding, PODDING, at gmail.com. We're also on Patreon, last thing, which is patreon.com/realitytest. And you can also search us on Patreon. You can search us, but you just want to put the @ sign before you put reality test. And just a reminder that this time next week, if we have 20 members, then we will continue doing something. So the main thing is we're going to continue potting no matter what, but certain things that we're putting time and energy into, just we might need to check ourselves because it's a lot of work for not any sort of remuneration, including for our sweet baby angel who's currently sick. Also, our sweet sound connoisseur. So that would be great if we could pay connoisseur because he's given us good quality sound all this time. So please, thank you. And then by the end of February, if we have 50 members, then we will give $10 a month to the ACLU. I'm going to say at least a year. I say we do that for at least a year. I'm really down with that. I think $10 a month is the least we can do, and we'll happily do that for a year if we can get to 50 members by the end of February. That said, thank you again to Daisy D. Not really, that's not her last name, but I like calling her Daisy D. Thank you, Daisy Faulkner. And you keep getting shout outs every time because you are a first member. And also Jerry Lawrence. I said Jerry something last time because I could not remember the last name, but I looked it up this time. Jerry Lawrence, thank you for being our second member. You both are a hoot and a riot. Jerry Bear, cute, love. That'll be our nickname for you because our top 2 Patreon members get nicknames. And that's how we're doing it.
Why the heck not?
Exactly.
And don't forget to download us. We've been getting a lot more downloads lately. And I think we could get even more because we know that there's folks listening who are not downloading and it could really help us out.
Yeah. Throw a couple downloads down on your phone and delete them afterwards if you'd like. But just as long as you download them, that can help us get some ads at some point. We did get one ad, which we'll be able to start. I think maybe it's already on this episode. Is it on this episode, Dr. Ray?
It is. Yes, it is indeed. It will be once our connoisseur does it.
Thank you, connoisseur. And thank you all so much for listening and subscribing, rating, and reviewing. We have some fun reviews, I have to say. I've really enjoyed our reviewers. So thank you all for that as well. And what a joy. What a joy, Dr. Ray, it has been, again, to spend this time with you. This was a long ep. Thank you all for listening. And we'll see you next session.
Bye.
Bye, baby.